Hello, my name is Vanessa Calonzo, and I am here to present for assignment number 1, which is our resource presentation. The resource presentation I chose to pick for this presentation is this book right here. It's Student Development in College, Theory, Research, and Practice. And I found it to be a very helpful book that I've used many times for a variety of different reasons. So you can follow along. I have the presentation also posted on the website for you to see. So this is the first slide, Student Development in College, Theory, Research, and Practice. So here's the second page. Why did I choose this particular resource? So first thing that you'll notice is that I am a student development administration student. And so this book was very pertinent to what I'm interested in because I am focused on the area of student development. So the book itself covers a lot of research and theories that are associated to helping people who are in college, who also include adult learners, on the various things that they may go through throughout their development. Many of the issues that are discussed is within the college setting, so it's very pertinent to the type of work that I want to do. And the book in general provides a lot of foundations to what I may see in the field once I get more and more in depth. I currently work for a community college, so many of the theories and the research that's presented in there is actually been very helpful as far as getting a foundation and starting place to try new things out for my school or to see what research is already out there and what's already been done. In general, I think the big issue for me is why reinvent the wheel when there's already research that's out there and there's already things out there to give me clues in what direction I should be going if I decide to focus on a particular populations of students. So I think this is a great resource in that sense because you're not starting from square one. You're looking at what's already been put together. You're finding out research that you could go to if you want to find out more. And I think that's a great way to not waste time and be more efficient with your time. In general, I also think that this book is really important because it gave me a sense of why colleges choose the types of practices that they do. So when they say research says, you actually have a sense of what research they're referring to. So if they know that students of color tend to work better when they have mentors, it could give me some insight into why mentoring is so important and what relationship that has to being a student of color. So I think this book is something to really give you a good start to understanding that. So if you go to the next slide, this is the highlights of this book, which I think are really made it a really good resource, was that it was realistic to student development scenarios. Each chapter actually started with a scenario that a student could go into and discuss. There's major research and theories explored. So this gave you, again, your baseline, your foundation of what it is that you could be discussing. And there's application and critiques of the theory itself. So it's not just saying this is the way it is. You can actually hear about the applications of how you can use it, some practical ways in which you as an educator can make interventions, and the critiques of the theory and the things that still need to be learned in reference to that theory. So I decided to provide an example of one of the chapters. This is chapter 12, Schlossberg's theory of transition. So the first thing you'll see in the chapter, they have scenarios. For this particular scenario, they had a chapter on Marie, who was a woman who was returning after divorce to go back to college. And she's really stressed out about her finances. She's also stressed out because she's taking care of her children. And so she has all these different factors that impact her learning. Another scenario that is mentioned in this chapter is Eric, who is in his senior year. He unfortunately lost his father, so he has some emotional things going on as well. And it talks about how he was in a relationship with Jason, and that relationship isn't going well. So what they do in this chapter is apply these particular situations and give these as examples throughout the chapter as they go through the different sections associated to it. So in the chapter, they'll talk about the historical overview of the theory, like what was Schlossberg's primary goals, what kind of publications came out, the development of the work. It'll actually go into more depth about the transition theory, so what was the definitions, the 4 S's that are included in the theory itself, and the different models that could be used as ways to help these students. And in general, the chapter finishes with, again, the research that was out there. So what were many of the theories, this theory based on, and what research was done. So there were some things done with NASA men, there were some university personnel that were also interviewed. So there's a few other things there. It also talks about applications, and so this was a really helpful place for me, because in the applications you got the chance to see how you could utilize the theory that you learned about in a practical way in the student development realm. And this could also be applied to the adult education realm. And of course, there's critiques to the theory, so they're not going to say that they have all the answers, but there could be more research done in this particular area. And it gives you direction on where a person who wanted to do additional research could go. So the organization of the book is, there's 4 parts. So the first part is understanding and using student development theory. So just the foundations baseline. The second part is foundational theories. The third part is integrative theories. Part 4, which is one of my favorites, was social identity development. So talking about race, class, gender, all the cross sections around those various levels of identity. And part 5, concluding reflection. So putting the book into use in general. So some major implications to adult learning is, of course, this book is focused on college students. Many of college students are considered adult learners, and so the perspective of the applications and resources that you would use in this book would be definitely applicable, and gives context to the personal and developmental issues that students are going through. Our main text from our class brushes over a lot of it, but this book actually gives you the chance to get more in depth about critical race theory and different areas of research and where those areas of research were based. And so I appreciated that about the book. It discusses environments and practices that can be shaped by the educator, so it gives you very practical things to be thinking about on how you can do an intervention, why you would want to do that intervention, and where the student might be coming from because of their development. And in general, that impacts the way the student will learn. And I think in general, as adults or as educators who work with adult students, we need to be aware of the societal influences and the possible influences within their development that they bring with them once they enter the classroom, or the relationship that you have, the professional relationship you have with that student. And so that gives us insight on how to better help that student. So the only critique that I really had was basically what the authors had mentioned at the beginning, and that was the fact that many of the things that they chose to select could be based on their bias, on what they felt was important. If you come from other perspectives of student development, you might have more emphasis in one area compared to what they did. And so I think that I'm glad that they highlighted that critique and were able to put that at the forefront. So in general, that's the presentation I have. I really recommend this book as a good foundational baseline, especially if you're doing research and you're going to use theory from now on. And thank you for your time.